the next one is what scientists, behavioral scientists, call surf your urge. And this intervention was popularized by Alan Mallard and Sarah Bowen out of Washington State University. And what they did is they took a group of university students that were all smokers who desperately wanted to stop their smoking habit. They told them, please do not smoke for 12 hours before the experiment, which I think was conducted in the afternoon, so it was a good number of waking hours that they could not smoke. Then they brought those, and they told them, bring a pack, an unopened pack of cigarettes and a lighter with you, got them into the room, and said, okay, now take your packs out. And you could see the students are all kind of on edge. They're really waiting for the moment that they can have the first smoke of the day. And the researcher says, okay, now stop. Look at your pack for 2 minutes. You're not allowed to touch it. You're not allowed to open it. Just during those 2 minutes, examine your emotion, examine your sensation, examine your thoughts, and write them down. Okay, 2 minutes have passed. Okay, now unwrap the cellophane. Stop. Write down your feelings and emotion. Okay, now take out the first cigarette, smell it, tap it 3 times, whatever smokers do. Stop. Think about what you're feeling about that cigarette, what cravings you're experiencing, what other thoughts. Write them down. Okay, take out your lighter. Stop. And this went on for over an hour. The poor guys were sitting there anticipating their highly coveted smoke, first one of the day, and they had to go through this understanding their urge, understanding their craving, but not acting on it. And what the researchers found is that later, as time progressed, the level of craving actually subsided. And at the end of the hour, they were not on edge anymore, and they were not craving that cigarette as much as they did at the beginning of the hour. And they repeated this study many times, and based on these studies, they've developed that concept of surfing the urge, namely, neurologically, that reward anticipation activity that's happening in the prefrontal cortex, as we saw, with the dopamine neurons, is transient. It takes a certain amount of time and then it dissipates. And so, if you wait it out, you surf the urge, that expectation, that craving will dissipate with time. 15% of the control group stopped smoking a year after that experiment, whereas the people who actually participated in the experiment, 35% of them were not smoking just due to the surf the urge exercise a year later. So it was definitely a potent intervention to go through. And Sarah Bowen actually produced an MP3 recording of the Surf the Urge meditation, where she guides you through this exercise. At the end of the presentation, I have a resources slide with a link to her free MP3 recording if you want to try it. So how can you use it? And again, I'll jump straight to the organizational level. How can you use this at the organizational level? And I'll bring back the same example of unruly meetings. But you can really extrapolate and take it to any level of the organization and any types of cravings, if you like. And that is, let's say, again, your meetings are unruly. People are jumping into each other's speeches, and the meeting is rendered very ineffective by this. So the objective is to stop that urge to jump into the conversation. and express whatever your thoughts, whatever your opinion might be. So you institute a new ruling and appoint a meeting marshal to enforce it. Before you want to speak, anyone has to raise their hand. The meeting chair or marshal will wait maybe 5, 10, 15 seconds before they award that person the right to speak. Meanwhile, you ask the person to think about his inner experiences. What is going inside his mind at the moment? Is he sympathizing with the current speaker or not? Is he respecting the current speaker or disagreeing with him or her? Does he have value to contribute into the conversation, or does he merely want to express his own opinion just for his self-gratification? And what you will find is after 15 seconds of this kind of inner deliberation, you'll find that the number of requests to speak, to express your opinion, is dropping down, and the value of the contribution to your meetings and conversations is increasing. Because those people who merely wanted to speak because they want to express their self, their ego, without anything to contribute to the conversation, that will drop because they are serving their urge. So the last one I want to share with you is the accountability partner. This is a study that goes back to 1993, Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. And what researchers did there in the survey is they took 5 groups of students who all shared the same goal. The first group, they've asked them, do you agree that this goal is a good idea? And of course they agreed, and they said, okay, write it down. This goal is a good idea for me to pursue. The second group, in addition to the first item, they said, are you committed to pursuing this goal? Seriously, focused on it. Yes, I am. Okay, write this down. The third group, they've asked them, in addition to the first 2 items, please produce a due date and a plan of exactly step by step how you're going to meet your goal, and write it down. Group number 4, they said, please send an email or a letter or some note to either a family member, or today it will be Facebook or wherever, publicize your intent to achieve this goal. And the 5th group, they said, seek an accountability partner, somebody that will support you in achieving your goal. And this is what they found. The first group, they just wrote down, yeah, it's a good idea, this goal. Only 15% of them actually achieved the goal. The last group, who worked with an accountability partner, 95% of those students achieved their goal. So the power of working with an accountability partner, I wanted to say is immeasurable, but it is actually very measurable. So how would we use this intervention on a personal level? Of course, we can ask a family member, a trusted advisor, somebody whom we respect, somebody who cares about us and has our well-being in mind, but also somebody strong who will have the fortitude to hold us to account in case of lapses in our willpower. And then you describe the goal to this person, and you start working with the person, and they will be sure to really hold you accountable in case of lapses. At the organizational level, same thing. You can get your team together once you've decided on whatever it is the goal you want to achieve, Again, a mentor, a facilitator, somebody that the team respects, but also somebody that will be able to stand up to the team and hold them to account. And you will be amazed to see the very demonstrable, measurable impact of working with an accountability partner. And this person should not be the team's line manager, the regular day-to-day boss. This should be an external person from either from within the company or an outside coach or whoever you choose to use for this function.